Uh, Hi, I'm Deirdre Verbo. How are you? Welcome to live seniors, memory care issues. Let's talk seniors, sorry, memory care issues. I was having a little technical difficulties while I was talking about technical difficulties. Let's talk live. Let's talk seniors, memory care issues, Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, every Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Thanks for joining us right here, bringing you issues that are affecting our seniors, our most coveted, loved people right now, and everybody. So people that have ways to keep seniors safe. You're going to be very excited. As many of you know, I'm Deirdre Verbo, and I wrote the book, Home to Home, the Step-by-Step Senior Housing Guide. I'm an author and a senior housing specialist. So my goal is to do workshops. Since that's not happening these days, if you would like to, it's sold on Amazon. If you'd like a copy free, I'll give you my name and number for you to call me. I've been sending them out right and left, and I'm happy to send you one. So many of you know that I'm opening up in just 2 weeks a memory care home for seniors in Shelton, Connecticut, a boutique style home for only 6 seniors in a regular residential, beautiful area in Shelton. It's all brand new. It's gorgeous. Love it. Furnishing it right now. It's going to be so pretty. Opening July 1st. Only 6 seniors, so feel free to call me for a tour, ask questions. Today we have gentlemen on that own a few businesses to do with seniors to keep us safe, and we're going to be meeting them right now. Well, before I do that, let me introduce them. Put on my glasses. We have Mario and brother Nick DeQuilla, and they own a bunch of businesses after seniors, but they own assisted living services and assisted living technologies. So they have a home healthcare business that brings people into your home to take care of your seniors there. Then they have lots of technologies to keep seniors safe. So today we're going to find out all about what they do, and if your senior wants to stay home, how you could keep your seniors safe from falls, fire prevention, safety prevention, what you could do for your senior, especially if they're experiencing any of these things. So let's bring on Mario and Nick right now. Welcome to the show. Hi, Mario, Nick, how are you?
How are you today? Hi, thank you for having us on.
You are so welcome. Thanks so much for coming. Love to learn everything there is about seniors and different things to do with seniors. And why you're doing it.
Well, first and foremost, I just want to.
I can't hear you too well.
Our companies.
Good.
Yeah, so really, as you know, that the COVID-19 pandemic has totally changed the way that we're doing business. It's driving a lot of people, a lot of social isolation going on, lots of things that would be confusing for some, which is changing the lives of others. But really, you can rest assured that what we're doing in the home is really important, from the home care to the technologies to some other projects that we've been working on. Back in 1996, a little bit of background behind one of our companies, actually the main company, Assisted Living Services. Our great-grandfather suffered from Alzheimer's, dementia. He was beginning to wander, and but way back in 1996, there wasn't many resources for people with Alzheimer's, for people with dementia. They just figured the older you get, the more that you forget things, and sometimes people wander. But my mother actually took it upon herself to provide the care for my great grandfather until the point where she actually had to hire a home care worker. She independently worked for my mother to help provide that 24/7 care for my great grandfather in his home, right? And really, it was an offshoot. A lot of her friends had said, "Hey, can we also need home care for our parent, our aging parent, or our aging grandparent." And what she had done was she really started the business from that one personal experience. Throughout the years, we had seen many different things in the homes that could be addressed and could have been addressed with technology. So back in 2010, we decided to gather as many resources as we could from online, contacting providers all throughout really the world internationally to see what are the best products that can be installed in the home to help people age independently, help people age safely, and help people age well and happily in their own homes, right? We also provide these technologies to skilled nursing facilities, assisted living facilities as well, and independent living community arrangements too, all throughout the United States. So really, we're providing.
So did your mom start the business?
Well, sorry, can you repeat that question one more time?
Did your mom start the business then?
She did. So she started the business, of course, the sandwich generation. She had young children and she had aging grandparents where she had to kind of help out with. So she started the business. It was going well. Again, I think we were the third home care agency in Connecticut at the time. So we started back then. Again, home care really wasn't a thing. Non-medical home care, I should say, wasn't a big thing in Connecticut back then. Of course, now there's well over 1,300 registered agencies. Not all of them are in business now, but I digress. I think there's about 700 now. So we were number 3. And she started the business. It was going along really well. My dad was an ER nurse at the time, and he actually decided to come on into the business, and really he takes the kind of the clinical side of things. He has the clinical and business mindset. And I could say up till today, we're a truly family-owned and operated business, with me being the chief operating officer, Nick is the chief information officer, and so forth. So in 2010, we started Assisted Living Technologies. And, it was a slow start because technologies aren't as quickly adapted until nowadays, right? Everybody's on technologies now. Everybody's using Zoom and Skype and everything. But back in 2010, not so much, right? So we had to do a really good job in convincing people that technologies are going to be a supplemental part in safety and aging in place, right? We had to convince kind of Connecticut that was, the way to go. And we finally kind of broke through. And I think people are actually utilizing a lot of our technologies in the homes and in facilities. So that's a lot about the business side of things. And I know probably a lot of people are tuning in to learn about the interesting part of this, which is not the business side.
No, it's interesting how you start the business and the reasons why you start the business, and your family's still in it. Do you have other siblings that are in the business?
Yeah, they are actually. So my father's a CEO and my mother's the CFO and president of the company. So they are still in the business. They're very actively managing in the executive team. And they're still really spreading the mission and the company culture every day to our loyal employees. So I always want to shout out.
I love that. I'm totally into nepotism.
Yeah,
I like to hire all my relatives. Yeah. Who else is better? You trust them. You want them to do well. When you do well, everybody could do all the same things. It's great. I love it.
And not all businesses work. Let me tell you, but I think this one is unique. Of course, every family is going to say the unique, but I think we have something that, you know, we all agreed. We're just like, hey, guys, just do what's best for the business, do what's best for the family. And with that agreement in mind, we just have, you know, a good synergy, honestly. And I can honestly say that. So not to say that we don't get into little tips here and there, but I think that's all healthy business though. Every business does, right?
Well, you're on the same page, you have the same goal, you have the same things in common, and you know it's healthy to disagree and keep it going. So, but that's incredible that you're growing and you have more than one business. You have a bunch of them. So, tell me something a little bit about you have like fire prevention as a topic. What kind of fire prevention, safety, gadgets, technologies do you have for seniors?
I don't have them on this table, but I can explain them, and I can run and grab you some too as well if you'd like.
Sure, I'm very interested. Like, is this to keep them from starting fires on the stove? Is this to keep safety in the kitchen?
Yep, there's
that kind of thing.
Yeah, if you can grab those, Mario. I'll explain them. So he's going to grab a few items there. The first one in particular, it's called the cook stop, and what it does is actually your stove plugs into this device, and then the device plugs into the wall. And what it has is a sensor that goes on the top of the stove, either underneath a cabinet or right above the stove. I'll show it to you right here. And that's the cook stop right here. And it has actually a motion sensor on it. It's an activity sensor. So as soon as you turn on the stove and start cooking, this sensor is reading your activity and movement throughout the kitchen. So, all right, there's activity in the kitchen, your stove's on and you're cooking, and you're attending to the stove. But as soon as you, oh, did you have a question?
Where's that being read? Like, who's reading it? Somebody's monitoring it?
Oh, no, this is a standalone device. And I'll tell you how it works at the very end. Once somebody actually steps out of the kitchen, let's say they go in the other room to watch a TV show, or Jeopardy's on, or the phone rings in the other room, this motion sensor actually detects no motion in the kitchen, and it starts a countdown timer automatically, typically at 5 minutes, because we don't want the stove being unattended for longer than 5 minutes. But as soon as that 5 minutes hits 0, and there's still no motion in the kitchen, what it does is it cuts the power to the stove, and it actually deactivates the stove from cooking until the person comes back in and presses the cook button on this device, which will then start up the stove again, and it'll allow them to keep cooking. So it's a great device for people who tend to forget when the stove's on. They might leave, go out to the community, and then there's a house fire because the stove.
That should be a good.
So is this
for one of your homes, actually?
Is this good for if a senior's home alone and leaves the stove on? So what happens again if they go away for X amount of time? It starts dinging?
It actually, it counts down from 5 minutes all the way to 4 minutes to 3 minutes to 2 minutes. And then once it hits a minute, it'll beep a little bit to notify that, oh, you have a minute left to get back in the kitchen so that your stove can continue cooking attended. But if it senses no motion by the time it hits 0, it will shut the stove off from cooking.
Oh, like an iron shut off or a teapot shut off or something like that. I need that for garlic bread. I always burn garlic bread. That's a great idea. That's excellent, because that is a big concern, right? When people have their parents at home by themselves and they start to forget things, that they're gonna leave the gas on or leave the flame on or leave something on. That's a huge concern.
Right.
So that's cool.
On top of that, this also has the ability to set up 4 different lockout times. So you can actually lock out and disable the stove from cooking over a certain period of time. For instance, at night, if you don't want your senior loved one to go in at night and start cooking, maybe after 8 p.m. And no earlier than 6 a.m. in the morning the next day, you can actually lock out the stove, so it will be disabled from cooking within those times to prevent any accidents from occurring.
That's excellent. That is a great device. I am taking notes. So
Thank you. It's also on our website, so this is called the Cook Stop.
Cook Stop. I wrote it down. That's very cool. That's excellent. Yeah.
This is called the Fire Avert. It's a little less of a complicated device. As you can see, it's just pretty much a square block right here, right? So this plugs into the wall where your stove would be plugged into, and then your stove plugs in right here. And what this device does is it actually pairs with your smoke detectors in the kitchen. So if somebody is cooking and it starts smoking on the stove and the smoke detectors go off, that will disable the stove. Although when you have smoke, you have a potential for a fire. So we like to recommend the Cook Stop because that's where it's going to actually disable the stove before that smoke actually occurs.
That's cool. That's great.
We do also have a device for microwaves. It's called the safety sensor. And it is over on the shelf, but I'll just explain it. What it does is that your microwave plugs into this device, just like this Fire Avert device here. And a little sensor goes on the side of the microwave where the outward vent pushes out the air. And when that senses smoke coming out of the microwave, it'll also shut the microwave down to reduce any further accidents or anything that can occur with a microwave. Because I believe the top cooking device injuries in the United States are actually due to microwaves.
Really?
That's
I mean,
that.
People putting in like metal and things? What?
Yeah.
How's
Yeah,
it not going to catch on fire?
They don't typically specify what the accidents are, but I would guess that it would be a metal plate or a metal fork inside there, or just putting food in without water in it and then it starts burning.
I would not have guessed that. I would not have guessed that.
Yeah, putting in a napkin or a paper towel. Some people put it on top.
Yeah.
And it dries out the food and ignites,
Also, a lot of seniors cook via microwave because they're not cooking that much anymore. So they're eating a lot of, microwave food. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now that must be a big seller. But what about fall detection?
Fall detection. I always like talking about fall detection because medical alert systems are our core focus. So we have all different types of alert systems that you can either push for help, or they actually have fall detection pendants that detect if you fall, or we have devices that even sense if you fall from radio frequencies to see whether you're standing or on the ground that will call out for help for you. We have the classic, just the medical alert system that goes in the home. It either works off of a landline phone service or it works off of its own cell chip. And that device comes with a fall detection pendant. It typically looks just like this, right? And that goes around the senior's neck. I could hold it up here.
So is that like a GPS thing that it knows where you are and it calls somebody to come get you kind of thing?
Well, I'm actually, so I'll explain from the home all the way up until the more advanced options, which are the ones with the GPS and the fall detection built into them. But this right here is just a typical fall detection pendant that you would pair with just your home-based emergency response system. So it's more for seniors who are in the home most of the day, and they rarely go out in the community like other active seniors. So it's more for homebound seniors where they might have a few hours of care during the day, but those hours of no care during the night, they may need a device like this for in the home. Which brings me to the next devices, which are the mobile emergency response systems. Let's see that there.
Uh-huh.
And what these devices do is they're actually built for people to just put on and go out. That's all you need to take with you when you're going out and about, maybe on a walk, the grocery store, to any community event that you see fit. It's more for active seniors that are going out and about away from their home during the day. But what this device does is it actually has built-in fall detection. So if that person falls, this will sense the fall, and it will actually dial out to a monitoring center who will come directly through this device, like a cell phone on speakerphone, and they'll ask the senior if they're okay. Now, if the senior doesn't respond, maybe they've fallen, hit their head, or they couldn't speak to the operator, they know that if there is no response, that they do send emergency medical services to this device. And the really cool thing about these mobile devices is that you can actually track them. You can track them via GPS, cell tower triangulation, which is just the distance from one cell tower to the other, and your relation to those cell towers.
When you say you could track them, Nick,
Mm-hmm.
let's say you have a parent driving and they got lost. Can you figure out where they are from that?
Yes. So the other cool thing about these is that not only can emergency medical services tell where you are and track you, but these devices come with a very user-friendly mobile application for family members, care managers, whoever wants to know the location of that individual at any particular point in time. They go in the app and they hit find. And what that does is it's just like a GPS map on your phone. It pings the location and it gives you the address, as well as the battery life of these devices too, because they do last for about 7 days without recharging them, but it's always good for a family member to look on there every few days and say, hey mom, hey dad, you mind popping your device on the charger for a few hours, just to make sure that you're full with battery and you're okay to go wherever you're going.
That's great. So it's like a checks and balance system for the senior. My girlfriend's mom was driving until she was almost 90. And she once went like 2 blocks away and she was 3 hours away, like almost in another state.
Oh, wow.
And my girlfriend had to like figure out from coordinates where she was and try. This would have been a godsend. My girlfriend doesn't even live near her mother and had to like send her back home somehow by just figuring things out, like sitting on her computer, talking to her mother for hours on the phone, telling her rights and lefts. This would have been fabulous. This is like a favor.
There's some interesting testimonials too that we're always proud of to hear. Our customers call us. For instance, one of our customers down southern Connecticut, it was her. She loves taking walks. She brings her dog, and all she brings is this device, not a cell phone. I believe she has a cell phone. She just forgot it in her house, and all she had was this, her dog, and herself walking in the woods, and she got lost. She went off the trails and she didn't know where she was. So I'm very glad that she pressed this button. They were able to locate her and bring her back to safety.
So when you press the button, does it talk to you? Does somebody talk to you?
Yeah, 24/7, there's a live operator on the other end that will always answer, and they will triage your call to the nearest dispatch, local dispatch, that can then find you.
Beautiful. That's great. I love it.
Thank you. Still with the emergency response systems, the built-in fall detection. We had the regular fall detection pendants for in the home. And there's also new devices that look, oh, that's a little hard to see. It's on. I'm going to unplug it, okay, just for showing purposes. Right there.
And what is that?
This device in particular is called the Wallabot Home, and it is actually a tile device. It's very thin. And where you put this is in the bathroom. That's typically where 80% of falls occur, is in the bathroom. So this will read a 13 by 13 room. And what it has inside of it is radio frequency sensors just like the sensors that they use to find studs behind walls. It's a very similar technology that they use. And what it does is it senses the room continuously. And as the person's walking in there, it's going to read their movements and their height. So if you're standing up and walking and moving normally, this device won't do anything. But as soon as you fall on the ground, it's going to sense that your elevation has changed and that you're now lying on the ground, and it's going to actually call out directly through the device to a family member or any other loved one who wants to receive that call to their cell phone. And they can actually talk to the senior directly through this device to see if they're okay, to see if it was a false alarm, maybe just to check up. And it can tell you a lot. For instance,
That's amazing.
your loved one falls, but they get back up and they think they're okay. Well, you could talk to them through that, and they can give you that information. And maybe they're not okay. Maybe they do need a wellness checkup. So it definitely gives the outside people who are monitoring this a better idea of how to get them help if they did fall.
So Nick, are these like one-time prices, or are they monthly monitoring services as well?
So this device right here is a one-time price. Just this tile alone, it's $330, a one-time purchase. And the reason why is because it works off of Wi-Fi, and there's no monitoring center actually monitoring this device. It's only between you and the family member. So like mother and daughter, son and dad, son and mother. It's more for internal communication. But for devices like these mobile emergency response systems, these are on a monthly basis. It's a rental basis, and you would pay on a monthly fee because there's the monitoring center, there's the cell data, and the service behind it.
Now, what about if you have a parent that's pretty reluctant and they're very self-sufficient, but they're just living alone, spouse has passed in a big house, you're worried, but they don't want to wear a big pendant, they don't want to, they think they're fine. What can you recommend that is not obvious?
This is a brand new product we're just introducing.
Well, if you carry that around, that's a kind of obvious.
Yeah, but it goes right on the table there. The good thing about this product is it's a home-based unit, right? But this product connects with this product. Yeah. And it also connects with motion sensors around the house too. And the other cool thing about it is that you don't really need a pendant to wear anymore when you're inside the house with this, because it's actually voice activated.
What does that do?
This is the same, as in essence, it's an emergency medical alert system. It calls a monitoring center if you do need help. But the cool thing about this product is that it's voice activated. So if you say help, it's going to hear you, and it's going to call out to that monitoring center. But the cool thing of that is that it also has two little phone buttons on it. So not only can you call the monitoring center in the cases of emergencies, but you can have a set of contacts like a son or daughter that you have pre-listed on this that you could just make the call to. Whether you have a question, whether you have chest pain, and you don't really want to call emergency medical services at that time, maybe you want to bring it by your son or daughter first just to let them know. So it gives you a good communication aspect with other people too.
We have a question for you from the audience. Do they need to be charged daily, battery operated? How do they work?
So the home-based devices, all of the home-based in-home devices are, they need to be plugged into AC power. So they do need power. Although they do have battery backups, from 40 to 60 hours of a battery backup just in case the power goes out. But with the mobile devices, like so, these will last you a good 7 days. The ones with the GPS tracking in them will last you about 7 days, up to 7 days. And then you have to just put it on the charger. It's a contact. You just plop it right in, It takes about 2 or 3 hours to charge. So I always recommend that the senior charges this when they're sitting down watching TV. Put it on the charger for an hour or two, and then you're good to go. I always recommend that they get into a routine with that. Maybe charge it 2 or 3 times a week, or maybe just once, depending on their routine. But get them on a routine to charge these, because they will not work if they do run out of battery.
So the home-based one that is, you're just going to talk into, how far does that go? Like, can you be on a second floor, a third floor, a basement, or is it just surrounded?
I would say put it in the central location of the home. So if it's a living room, keep it in the living room. I can't guarantee that if they're upstairs and the door is closed and they call for help, it's going to actually detect that. But it's pretty sensitive, and just like our other emergency response systems in the home, you wouldn't have a problem hearing and talking to the operator if it was on floor to floor.
Then you could loop in multiple peripherals. Like, I would recommend that you put one of these upstairs, one of the wall units, so that you can actually have full coverage throughout the home. I hope I didn't overstep that. That's actually, what we recommend. The more coverage you have, the better. You don't want to just put something somewhere in the home where, if you're way on the other side of the home, if you have a large home, that you can't be heard if you do hit one of the buttons or if you call for help. So we always recommend that you have more coverage rather than less. So I know a lot of people are, sometimes cost sensitive, but, I think that once these are installed the one time, you just kind of set it and forget it. And when you need help, you call for the help, or if you do fall and maybe you can't respond or call, these things can do that for you, right? So we offer all different kinds of options that can really cover the entire home. And you know what, in all honesty too, if that's a fear, we always have really small personal help buttons as well that people can just wear either on the wrist or the neck. They don't all have to be this large. Again, these are the kind of the go units, right? You get up and go. These are for people who get out and about. But the smaller units, even over in our showroom, that's where we keep going to our showroom and back to get all our technologies, are even smaller than this button, in all honesty. Very discreet, easy to use, waterproof, so that you can go in the shower or the bath with them. That's a huge benefit, by the way. How many falls happen?
They're waterproof? You can wear those?
Falls that are in the bathroom.
80%. So like I said,
you wear those pennants around your neck in the shower?
Mm-hmm.
You can, absolutely. And we encourage it. Like he just said, 80% of the falls for seniors do happen in the bathroom, right? It's slippery. People are bending over, you're toweling off, maybe.
Just woke up, they haven't eaten.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So we always recommend people either wear their pendants in the bathroom, or they have one of the wall bots or wall type devices to help sense the fall if they do. So the more coverage, the better. That's what we always say.
My mom's 83, and she's now wearing the pendant because she's, home alone. My father recently passed away, but she doesn't like how it looks. So she took it off, the lanyard thing, and put on a gold chain. I think it looked too obvious, like just called out like she was a senior. Like, it just, so anything you could do to make them look a little less like, help me buttons.
Medical look.
Yeah. And you can do that, honestly. We have customers do that all the time. Put them on a silver chain, a gold chain.
Make them a little more fashion forward so they don't feel like they're wearing an accessory instead of like, I need help button, But that was my mother's like, I'll wear it under my blouse. I'm like, I don't think that'll work. But
you know what? At least she's wearing it, because if you can actually press it, if it is under the clothes, you can always feel for it and kind of press it and get that button, hopefully. We recommend wearing it on the outside, but if it gets them to wear it, somebody who's a fall risk, we don't mind. We totally understand. We say, hey, just wear it.
Have another question here by Robin. She wants to know if there's any compatibility, I think, with Google Home or Alexa.
That's a good question. This product, I'd have to ask the manufacturer of this product. We're actually just currently testing this, but I would have to get back to her on that. I'm not sure if she has an email that I can get back to her with, but I can send her information.
I can provide you her email. Actually, I know Robin. She actually runs a website that helps seniors, and she's an advocate. She's a medical advocate. So.
And just to add to that, Robin, we do offer Google Nest products such as the Google Home, the cameras, the doorbells. We saw a big need in the cameras, especially from a lot of our private clients who just wanted to monitor their elderly loved one in their home, and both in the home but outside of the home as well, because there's a large movement of people, elder fraud, people coming and trying to sell your elderly loved one something that they don't want, or trying to get their foot in the door. So having a simple Nest doorbell at the front door, monitoring that front door, making sure that the proper people are showing up to your senior's home, and not the wrong people. And you can just talk to them and say, get out of here. We don't want things
That's
like
great.
that. So.
That's really good. That's great.
And not to mention people coming up and taking your Amazon packages, So
I know, they just drop them at your door now.
yeah, I know. So, but it's a good idea to have this, so at least you kind of know who grabbed it if they come and take your boxes.
So do you do all the cameras in the houses too that hook up with your cell phone? Like, do you have cameras that you could put in the house where the kids could watch it?
Oh yeah, yep. The Google Nest app is the app that connects with these cameras. They can look on the app and view whatever is in the home, and they can also these cameras are actually equipped with two-way voice, so you can actually talk through the camera to your senior loved one, and they could talk back to you. They just can't see you, but it's like a speaker, so it can be used with that as well.
My brother used to watch his mother-in-law all the time, and she devoured like a pie or two every day. She was about 40 pounds herself, but he's like, what? She keeps eating all the pie. And show pictures of her keep going into the kitchen. She'd eat like 2 pies a day. I'm like, okay. I don't know. They watched it though. They watched it all day long. All day long. They watched her all day long. I was like, wow. And then we watched her when he watched her. I was like, this is, I don't know, not really fascinating, but it was fascinating.
It becomes an addiction.
Yeah, like, oh, she's doing crossword puzzle. Now she's eating pie. Like, it was really, yeah. It's a great, these are great safety devices because there's a lot of safety issues with seniors. A lot. People can really rip them off and scare them and take advantage of them. And, knowing a senior lives in a home, it's going to be slow downs the door, and you could say you're Meals on Wheels or whatever, and yeah, so this is great.
Absolutely.
And they also help with medication compliance as well. So if you
tell me a little bit about that. That's cool.
So the Google Nest cameras, if they're fixed onto a spot, an area where the senior is taking their medications, you can have a good eye on whether they take it or not that day. And then you can call them and follow up to remind them to take their medications. But over and above that, we do have a device here. You're probably good there. It's called the MedMinder. It is an automated medication dispenser. And as you can see, this little light's flashing here. This is a demo unit, but what this device essentially is you sort out the medications throughout the week. You can fill it up. If the person's taking one medication per day, you could fill this thing up for 4 weeks. And if when it's time for them to take their medication, let's say it's Tuesday on the second week, that time that it's time to take their medication, it will actually start flashing. And all the person has to simply do is lift up the lid, take out the medication cup, and take their meds. And then they put the cup back down, and the flashing will go away.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You can't over-medicate. You could be sure you're taking it. Of course, I can throw it away. But, oh, my God, my dad was on like 26 pills a day. he had a timer on and beep, 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 beep. I was like, how do you know what you're taking or doing? Get a whole chart. This is great.
This would have helped, definitely. It's
Oh my gosh, that is so cool. I love that.
really good.
How much is that retail for?
So the top highest model with the emergency response system built into it as well, that's around $60 to $65 a month to rent this device. The lower model devices are about $30 a month, but those are all unlocked. All of the top compartments are unlocked, so you can get into the meds with those lower end models. These higher end models actually have locking mechanisms that lock these closed.
Wow.
So it prevents them from taking the wrong meds, and it also keeps other people from getting into the meds. It's a pretty nice device. And if they don't see the flashing, it'll start beeping in a half an hour, and then it'll give them a phone call. And if they miss the meds, it's going to give their loved one a phone call too, letting them know that
Wow, that's something else. That is cool.
The beautiful thing about the MedMinder too is that it's a rental model. So the product is leased. You give us a call. If you need it for 1 month, 2 months, maybe you're on a short medication regimen, you just need to be reminded to take the meds. It's rented. You know, you don't have to have this expensive piece of equipment in your house for long term. We would like it for it to be long term, but you know, obviously, as people just get different regimens, we want to make sure that they take them as prescribed. So it's a rental model. It's a great device. I think our med compliance rating for last year, we do a study every year on our client population who's actually utilizing the products. About 200 of them, I would say, 200 MedMinder subscribers. That our compliance was around 95%. So that means that our customers, 100% would be all 200 people taking their meds 100% of the time. So the CDC average is actually around 50% of the time for people that are, I believe it's 65 and older. Because in all honesty, you know, I forget to take my vitamins every morning. I'm like, oh, did I take it today? Oh no, I'll just kind of double up, you know, and that I know you're not supposed to do. But so if the CDC average is 50%, med management products like the MedMinder and our client population are around 95%. It's really an invaluable tool to make sure people are taking their meds on time and the right dose.
Well, especially some medicines are life or death. Like some really can affect you.
Absolutely. You wouldn't want somebody to take too much Coumadin or something like that, right? I mean, obviously that's something that could be controlled with a product like this. We always recommend the locked MedMinder just because it's very difficult to overdose or underdose using this product. I mean, obviously as all the med containers are locked, and you'll know when the person takes their med or if they don't take their med, so you can address it later on. That's super. Do you have
other medication management products?
We do, but they're just a little less complicated than this device. It's I'm sure you've seen it before. It's called the Med Ready. If you want to grab one,
and I'm going over here to my showroom right now. Just if you didn't know, we actually have a showroom in Cheshire where it's a gallery where we have all of our products that we offer throughout Connecticut and really the United States. So we had people coming here before COVID so that they can tour all the products. But right now we do virtual meetings like this to kind of show you everything that we offer. So I'll go grab the MedReady. You want to see it? I'll grab it. Yeah.
Do you like scan Europe and all over to find these products, or how are you finding all these products?
Well, we're partnered with a lot of our vendors. Give us the sneak peek to the new products that come out. We typically join PERS Insider magazines for different products like that, and it's really just us looking around out and about for these products online. And we reach out to these people, we test the products, we make sure that all of our products are tested for at least a month before they go out to our clients, so we deem them safe, and we actually test them ourselves, so we know they work. But
what's that?
This is the Med Ready. It's a circular medication dispenser. It does have 28 compartments, just like the MedMinder does over here. But instead, it runs off of an internal time clock. So you could set it to dispense up to 4 times throughout the day. But of course, all the notifications that you receive with the MedMinder, such as the power went out, or you missed that dose on time, or they didn't take their dose at all that day, those notifications don't come with this device because it's a standalone device with an internal clock, and it doesn't run off of the cellular network like the MedMinder does.
At least this model doesn't.
Model.
There are other MedReady products that do have some of the same features as the MedMinder, but this particular one, I think it's the MedReady 1700, is just the more kind of basic model where it's very utilitarian. It just works, right? Without all the bells and whistles.
And is that like a monthly rental too?
This is actually a one-time purchase. You could purchase these. I believe it's $100 for this model. I believe it's $149.95. One-time purchase. Don't quote me on that yet, but
How does it work if you have to take medicine different hours in the same day? Does it do something there?
yeah. So the clock is not on. It's not plugged in right now.
Okay, there's a clock.
But you could program it to up to 4 times per day to dispense. So let's say if you wanted it to dispense at 8 a.m. in the morning, you would internally set it to rotate and to beep at 8 a.m. in the morning, and it would start beeping until the person slides up this lever here, and they take the meds out that way.
Nice.
Just like that. They close it back down, and then let's say the next dispense is at 1 p.m. in the afternoon. As soon as it hits that time, it then rotates for the next medication, and they lift it up and take that medication.
Nice, nice. Wow, you have a lot of products. And do you have products like bed buttons and if they move in the bed and things like that?
Yep, we do. You want to grab some stuff?
I'll keep grabbing. We're gonna have the whole showroom right here.
Fit it all right here, but,
Yeah, let me get some.
Right behind the bushes. So most of so you have the company where you supply people with in-home healthcare. Do you I guess also supply them with all this in-home healthcare stuff so that they can be really responding quickly? Are most of your clientele living at home still?
Yes, correct. And I could actually show you exactly the products that we provide our home care company for our aides to use, to utilize. This is a smart caregiver. It's a bed pad, and that pairs with an alarm, a pager, that the caregiver would wear on them. So let's say the caregiver puts the senior in bed, they put them to sleep, and they leave the room, and they're in another room, maybe in their own bedroom. As soon as that senior reduces pressure from this bed pad, that pager is going to beep and let the caregiver know that the senior's up and out of bed and that they need assistance to wherever they need to go, whether it's to the bathroom in the middle of the night. They can do that. As soon as they get up, it notifies the caregiver, and then they can help attend that senior to the bathroom, which in turn will reduce falls and reduce injuries and reduce hospitalizations.
That's a good thing for kids too. Actually.
Oh, that's
You have little tots that put it there to see if they get out of bed at night.
that's a good point too. That's true. You can use it on younger kids too. And this is a chair pad too. So any simple chair or recliner, their favorite recliner, they sit down on this pad. It's the same technology. So as soon as they get off, it sends a signal over to that pager that the caregiver is carrying, and they know that that person got up and is standing up and is moving, and they may need assistance. And the other thing that we have by this manufacturer are door sensors. They help our caregivers for seniors who tend to wander, maybe have dementia, and they tend to wander out the front, the back door. We put these door sensors on the front and back doors, windows, wherever they need them, so that as soon as that front door or back door opens, they get notified of it, and then they can attend to that senior as well.
Very cool. Now, do these things, are they like you buy them for good, like a the chair sensor or the bed sensor, or are they things you have to replace, or is it like a one-time buy and they stay good?
Well, those you definitely, those are one-time purchase items. For sanitary reasons, I mean, it's on a bed, and usually the products I think last about 1 year before they really start to lose their elasticity. As you can imagine, I mean, a mattress.
Somebody's sitting on it or sleeping on it, so
Long term, exactly.
wear out a little, I guess.
But this is only about 1/8 of an inch thick, so as you might imagine, the sensor wears down after about a year. But a lot of the one of the main benefits from these bed pads, I know a while ago, manufacturers used to make them where they would ring at the bedside. And that actually totally defeats the purpose of these, right? They ring at the bedside. It frightens the client, first of all, right? Because it's late at night and you got up from bed and now all of a sudden something's ringing in your room and you get frightened, right? And that would actually prompt more falls than it would save, right? Because they get nervous, they move really quickly, right? Instead, these smart caregiver products, the manufacturers, great. They saw that and they said, how can we reduce the noise in the room? So it really sends a signal out of the room to the caregiver's pager. That is very important when looking for one of these products. You don't want noise at the bedside. First of all, it's going to aggravate anybody. It would aggravate me if every time I got out of bed, I would hear a ring right on the side of my head. So really what it does is it's designed just to alert the caregiver. Once the caregiver hears that chime, or there's actually a vibrate mode on it as well if you really want to reduce all noise, the caregiver can then come to the room and address the person's mobility needs and help them out right before they get out of bed and potentially fall. So fantastic product. I recommend them, honestly, for our home care agency, right? It's nice to have the technology side. We use them with our caregivers on a daily basis. Honestly, most of our caregivers, especially the live-ins, have these, right, with clients that have mobility issues. But we recommend them in assisted living communities, SNFs, skilled nursing facilities. We recommend them in your type of business as well. They just help to reduce the falls. And, it doesn't hurt to know when your client's getting up and that they need some help, so we promote them. Really big.
And our foster caregivers use them as well. So
yeah, they do.
So family members caring for their elderly, their senior loved ones too. They utilize those to just help them. So a daughter or son caring for their seniors living in the same home also utilize those.
So Mario, what is your biggest seller? What's your best seller?
I would say that it is what Nick's going to hold up right now, and it's that's the Bell. It's literally just called the Bell. That's not the Bell Plus, right?
This is actually the Bell Plus.
That's the Bell Plus.
Yep.
So the Bell and Bell Plus, those are mobile medical alert systems, and these are great for people who are on the go. They're not just for seniors. They're for anybody who is on the go that potentially could run into an issue when they're on the go, right? Somebody with any chronic illness, right, that may have difficulties when out and about. They're great for somebody that's just alone. They're maybe nervous to walk home alone at night, something like that. Great product for that person as well. And they're great just for our aging population. People are more active nowadays, right? And we want to make sure that they have easy access to emergency help. And that's exactly what this does. And that's our best seller.
That is fabulous. You've probably saved so many lives. You probably get so many stories that these products have saved so many lives.
Absolutely.
I can only imagine, just with my small amount of family members that have become elderly, like my aunt fell down next to her telephone and couldn't reach it. I was there for 2 hours before we found her. Like, she was that far away from her phone.
Oh.
And her voice got smaller when she called for help. It was like, oh, so you couldn't even hear her, even though there were people in the house. So these are like, you must have so many stories about lives that you've saved. And that's probably the biggest reward in the business.
Absolutely. It is. It really is.
That is so good. So where are you going next with the business?
Well, you want to tell them or her?
Oh,
You
well,
wanna-
with technologies, we are corely focused on our emergency response systems. We see there's a huge need for these emergency response systems. And sorry, I interchanged the word a lot. So an emergency response system is similar to a medical alert system, and it's similar to I've fallen and I can't get up. So all those types of things, it's pretty much a medical alert system that calls for help when you need it. Currently, right now, only 6% of seniors over 65 have medical alert systems with them. So we see that people are living longer. Actually, the age of people 65 years and older is actually outnumbering any other age group at this point in time. So there's a lot more seniors now. They may have cell phones. Actually, you'd be surprised how many seniors have cell phones. It's up in the 80 to 90% of seniors actually have some sort of cell phone. But whether they carry that cell phone with them wherever they go, they're not going to carry that cell phone in the shower with them. They might not have that cell phone ever when they go out and about. So we are really pushing the fact that they need an emergency response system, whether it's in the home or whether it's on the go.
Yeah, no, and cell phones are not that easy to figure out if you're confused. And my dad took a cell phone everywhere and only put it on if he was going to make a call.
Mhm.
He never got the notion to keep it on.
Exactly.
We told him for 10 years, but he did not get the idea. So he'd leave it in his pocket and just take it out and put it on if you need to make a call. That was not going to ever help him. So, yeah, I think emergency responses. Now, what if does Medicare or Medicaid pay for any of this if you're on a low budget? Or are there places that people can go on a low budget to get these?
Yeah, so one of the benefits of actually both of our companies, Assisted Living Services and Technologies, is that we are contracted with many of the state Medicaid waiver programs. So I'll just think about Assisted Living Technologies. So for people that qualify for the Connecticut Home Care Program for Elders, which is a Medicaid waiver program for people that are 65 and older that meet certain income and asset qualifications to be eligible for this program. We are contracted with DSS to be vendors for that program. So they cover pretty much 100% of the cost for a lot of the products that we do carry. Which is fantastic, right? Because
that is amazing. That's fantastic.
People need the product, and some people are like, I don't have the funds, but I'm on these programs. How can I access them? Just talk to your case manager. Everybody that's on the Connecticut Home Care Program has a case manager, and if they do need the product, they feel nervous at home, or they have chronic illness, or they have unsteady ambulation around the home, ask your case manager for one of these, and they will give a referral. And there's other providers around the state as well. I always say we're the best, obviously, because we do carry the largest variety of emergency response systems and the highest quality of them. We don't cheap out on any of the products that we buy. It costs us a little more, but we can rest assured, and our clients can rest assured that they're going to work when they need them most, right? So I'm digressing a little bit with that. So we're contracted providers for the Connecticut Home Care Program for Elders. We are also contracted providers for the Acquired Brain Injury Program, ABI program for short, which is similar to the home care program, where you need to meet certain asset and income limits, and you also need to have, I believe, prior traumatic brain injury diagnoses, I believe, to meet that particular program. So reach out to DSS for all the viewers that are watching this. Reach out to the Department of Social Services to see if you or anyone or your loved one qualifies for those two programs. There's another one called Community First Choice, that's CFC, that also covers the cost for these products as well. There's a program called the PCA waiver. Again, we're contracted for all these programs that I'm naming right now. There's a program called the Mental Health Waiver, which is actually administered through and paid for by DSS as well. And I may be forgetting one or two.
Money follows the person.
Money follows the person as well. So that's another.
What's it called? What is it
Money
called?
follows the person. It's called MFP.
Money follows the person?
Exactly. And really, I think it's the state's initiative to help people that can live independently, people that are at risk of institutionalization, like going into a nursing home. This funding is set aside for those particular people, right? As with many of the people that are on the other programs that I mentioned as well.
And Mario, can they get all these programs by calling the Department of Social Services in Hartford?
Yeah, you definitely want to do a little bit of research. Go online, type in departmentofsocialservices.com, type in Medicaid waiver programs, right? And there's a list of these different programs. There's numbers to call. They actually do a really good job with the eligibility requirements and education online. I've searched for it myself to kind of share that resource with interested people. And the state does a good job actually in describing these things. So go online, ctdss.com or .org or whatever it might, or .gov obviously, and check that out. What the state is noticing is that people age best at home. It's actually cost the state a lot less to keep people out of institutions such as nursing homes. Some people have to go to those, right? They need more comprehensive support, right? So, but the state's noticing that more people can live at home. We're going to fund these people, and we're going to help pay for things like home care, for instance. We're going to pay for technology and so forth. So check them out. Again, we're providers on both the home care side and the technology side. And also private pay too, right? So if anyone does not qualify for these programs, we always used to say this. We always used to say every product that we offer, whether it's a monthly subscription or not, is going to be around $1 to $2 a day. $1 to $2 a day to make sure that you have access to emergency help, or that your house doesn't light on fire, or that your daughter or son knows where you are. It's invaluable.
It's preventative. It's all preventative care. Absolutely. And that's why the state caught on, because it's preventative. It's better to give a elderly person monitor than pay for 2 hip replacement surgeries and recovery time and have somebody suffering, right? So it's all preventative. So I think you're in a fantastic business, and we do have an aging population, and people need this kind of technology and support to just live comfortably at home or in a facility, because they can fall in the middle of the night. Nobody would even know. Like it's terrible.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You don't even have to be that old for this to happen. So
anybody.
Yeah. So just, keep up the good work. I really appreciate meeting you and talking to you and finding out what you do. And I love your whole business model, and that you combine the both, home health care, because now you could see what people need, because you have home health care workers, and you could be like, oh, we need more of this. This is what people are lighting their microwaves on fire. We have to look into that. Now people are falling down the stairs. We got to look into, so you're right there and know what's happening. So Thank you so much, Mario and Nick. I really appreciate Assisted Living Technologies. If somebody wants to get in touch with you, 203-235-8324, or with your assisted living services where you bring people into the home. I'm sure you're doing lots of COVID-free, cool stuff now, right? Making sure we're safe. Assisted Living Services, 203-634-8660. And you could always watch them on YouTube at Just Like Home. And thank you so much again for joining us. I really appreciate it. You've both been great. Is there anything you want to say? Any parting words?
Well, check out our website too. So
what's your website?
assistedlivingtechnologies.com.
Okay.
For the tech side, and Assisted Living CT is in Connecticut.com for the home care services.
I will be going on myself to get some of those bed pads and some of those other cool stuff. I really appreciate it. Thank you, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, both of you. Appreciate it. Well, thank you guys. If you want to get in touch with the Quilla Brothers Assisted Living Services, it's right there. Tomorrow we will see you same time, Tuesday. Maybe today's Tuesday. Is today Tuesday? Yeah, today's Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow, Wednesday at 5 o'clock on Let's Talk Seniors. Look forward to it. Till then, I'm Deirdre Verbo, and if you want to book, it's 203-570-4839. Let me put my number up for you. Okay, it's 203-689-7562 is the best number if you want a free book. I've been sending them out right and left. Happy to send you one. That again is Home to Home Senior Edition. Thank you so much, and until tomorrow.
Hi, Deirdre here again. Thank you for joining me on Let's Talk Seniors Memory Care Issues. Is this an issue hitting home? Do you have a parent or loved one with memory care issues who you feel is not safe at home anymore? Are isolation, falls, and safety issues becoming a big concern? Welcome to Dogwood Senior Home, premier boutique residential senior living specializing in memory care. It's country living at its best in the Huntington section of Shelton, Connecticut. We're truly a home with only 6 senior residents living as one family unit. Senior residential homes are concepts sweeping the nation with 47,000 across the U.S. We're pleased to open Dogwood Senior Home as it will be only number 6 for Connecticut. Brand new, sparkling clean, opening mid-June. And safe, safe, safe. We are COVID-free. Residential care homes boast a very low COVID infection rate across the nation. This is due to the intimacy of size and speed in which the caretakers can shift to accommodate immediate needs. They are much safer than the large homes and facilities, as you can imagine. It has been documented that residents have less falls and a better quality of life in a residential home environment. Our home is more affordable than the big box facility. You pay one all-inclusive price, and that price is guaranteed for the life of the resident. With an incredible 1-to-3 caregiver ratio, which you won't find anywhere else. Our friendly, loving caregivers are dedicated and trained in Alzheimer's, dementia, and Parkinson's issues. We're only taking 6 residents, so the home will fill up fast. Call me at 203-689-7562 for a talk and tour. I would love to meet you and your loved one. See you soon. Bye.